Hey, good evening, everybody, and welcome to Popco the Writers. How are you doing today, Jim?
Good. How are you?
I'm doing well. Let's see. I usually like it.
There.
Yeah, that's better. I'm doing well. We got lots to talk about today because we missed last week. I wasn't feeling up to it. Jim was ready, but I bailed out. So I'm glad you got the greenish shirt memo.
Yeah. I dug out my green hoodie and everything because it's cold up here in Northwest Ohio.
California, it's still 80, 90 degrees.
Oh, yeah. Right now it's 58.
We're 86. So 1 degree down would be the reverse.
And yes, you are correct. Boy, do we have a lot to talk about.
Yep.
And might I just say, I want to illustrate how much doing this show means to me. I'm actually missing Comet's Godzilla marathon right now to watch this, or to do this show, pardon me.
Oh, man. I almost feel bad.
How many times can you watch Son of Godzilla, you know?
Well, if you're my buddy Braden, never enough.
That's me, because I love Son of Godzilla.
We're going to talk about She-Hulk, and we're going to talk about Rings of Power. But I wanted to bring up one thing.
And Andor.
Oh, shoot, Andor. Wow.
Dan, we have a lot to talk about.
Okay, we're going to do these short here, but I wanted to bring up the clip that Netflix dropped for Glass Onion, which is the sequel to Knives Out.
Oh, okay.
And I don't know about you, but I am a huge murder mystery person. I have been geeked over the of Knives Out and the Kenneth Branagh, Hercule Poirot movies that have been coming out. So to get another Benoit Blanc movie with Daniel Craig, and they dropped this clip, which is basically the four main suspects or people solving a puzzle box. And they're kind of on the phone with each other doing it, but there's four puzzle boxes. And I thought that was a really neat clip to put out there because it gets things re-energized. And I'm just as excited for this one as I was.
New mystery, or is it still the same mystery from the first movie?
New mystery.
Okay.
New mystery, new setting. It's on it's on a private island.
Mm-hmm.
It's got Ed Norton in it, Dave Bautista, Catherine Hahn, Kate Hudson, Jessica Henwick, Ed Norton, Lamar Odom Jr.
Oh, it's a new cast then.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
The only person who's coming back is Daniel Craig.
So is it the same character?
Yeah, he's playing the detective again.
Okay, so that's how it's a sequel then, or a continuation. Okay,
yeah, it's just like Death on the Nile is a sequel to Murder on the Orient Express. Yeah,
gotcha.
Yeah, no, it would not work to have the same characters back. That would be...
Well, that's what I was thinking. Like, is it the same mystery?
I'll say how
another murder in their lives.
Yeah, I'll say how many people are you going to kill? No, I am looking forward to that. I love the character, and Rian Johnson did such a good job with that movie. I feel like where he went wrong with Star Wars is where he went right with this, because his thing is to kind of subvert expectations.
Yeah.
And that's not what a Star Wars fan wants. But
well, we still have to have that discussion someday. That's a whole episode.
Yeah. But when it comes to murder mysteries and you want to change things up and do something different, I thought Knives Out was brilliant. It's
They
probably
need to
one of the
make a
best.
new Nero Wolf movie. That's what they need to do.
That would be awesome.
That's where I live. I'm a Nero Wolf fan.
Yeah, I don't know if you've read the novels I wrote, the Lucius Fogg novels, but Nero Wolf is my
No,
inspiration for those.
I remember you saying that before, though.
Yeah, the relationship.
I just got a copy of the very first Robert. Is it Robert Goldsboro or Richard the guy that continued from Rex Stout? It's Robert Goldsboro. I put those off for a long time, and then somebody said, "Oh no, the first few ones are good," so I'm going to give it a try.
I'll have to check those out. I haven't read any of those, but every once in a while I'll go back and I'll rewatch the A&E version
Yeah.
with Timothy Hutton in it because they're brilliant.
Yes. Yeah. That's what got me into Nero Wolf. I saw those first.
Yeah, I was familiar with the character already, but when that came out, I'm like, oh, these are awesome. So, all right, let's go ahead and jump in. We should have like a wheel. Which will we talk about first?
I know, really.
Yeah. Let's do She-Hulk because I think that'll be the easiest one to talk about.
Okay.
Because the last two episodes haven't necessarily had a lot happening, yet quite a bit happened. In the sense that the previous episode with the court case against Titania for the name She-Hulk,
Mm-hmm.
I thought that was interesting because suddenly the whole dating thing tied into the main story.
Yeah, it's actually the solution. Spoiler alert. It's a solution to it. Yeah.
So I thought that was clever writing.
Yeah.
You know, and then this episode, everybody's expecting Daredevil because we had the helmet cameo at the end.
Yeah.
And I went into it last week when I did talk She-Hulk on the Dan Wickline show. I said, I hope we don't get Daredevil yet.
It was you who ruined it.
Because I want to see a little more of Jen. Let's spend some time with Jen.
Well, I think you got that.
Yeah. Yeah, except for the ending suddenly has my mind full of speculation.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I'll throw some of those out in a minute.
I love how they address what some people might be thinking right in the beginning, where she just turns to us and says, yes, it's a wedding episode. It's self-contained. And it's just like in the real world, it just comes out of nowhere. I almost thought that they would do something about like, oh, and that thing that you saw at the end of the last episode, we're not going to deal with it. You know, it would have been funny if they would have actually called it out and teased us even more about it.
I think they did it as close as they could.
Yeah, it's just like any show that you tune in to see one specific thing. They're going to hold it to the very end, you know?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, so yeah, I think, and he's only supposed to be in one episode.
Mm-hmm.
So, and that's probably going to be the Frogman episode as well. Because the two have a connection in the past.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So, but I love that they brought in Mr. Immortal.
Yeah. Great Lakes Avengers for the win.
And the actor who plays Mr. Immortal is the same actor who played the Major Domo from Boba Fett, who I thought was a great character.
Yeah.
So it was like, so I posted that I took pictures of both and put them on Twitter.
Yeah.
Let's recognize that this guy, and he responded with a like. I'm like,
oh, that's great.
Nice.
Yeah, and he's just as annoying in both shows too. You want to pitch both of them out the window.
Speaking of which, but was not that one of the funniest moments when he goes out the window? Not just from going out the window, but the way he kind of does that pause, woo, that like swan dive.
Well, what I want to know is like does he get charged with ruining that car? You know,
or the window,
or the window for that matter.
And unless Mr. Immortal has some superpowers besides immortality, which I don't believe he does,
not that I've heard of.
He shouldn't have been able to bust through that window that easily. Those windows are usually reinforced glass.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
So you don't have people leaping to their deaths.
Suspension of disbelief, Dan. Willing suspension of
That aside, just the moment when he jumps out and the way he kind of poses, it's like. So Mr. Immortal was awesome.
Yeah, it was good stuff. That was really, really. Now I want to see all the other Great Lakes Avengers. I can't just stick with. I need to see Pink. What's her name? Is it Big Bertha or
Bertha?
Yeah. That's and the pterodactyl lady, dinosaur. I think is
and the flat guy.
That's Flat Man, and then there's Doorman.
Yeah. Wasn't Squirrel Girl part of the original Great Lakes Avengers?
That might have been after my time. I go back to the John Byrne, Great Lakes Avengers.
By the way, good evening, Amy. Glad to have you here.
Yes, hi.
Yeah. So I loved Mr. Immortal. I loved that side plot.
Yeah.
And I thought the wedding was, maybe it's my suspicious mind.
Okay, Elvis.
I think I like the Righteous Brother version better.
Oh.
But it just seems to me like a lot of these people in her life may be all set up by the group we meet at the end, the Intelligentsia.
Mm-hmm.
Like maybe that's why Titania even came into the courtroom that day.
Mm-hmm.
Why these guys dated her, like Todd. I think Todd is part of the Intelligentsia. Not a high part. I don't think he's a costumed guy. But I think he's probably the tech guy or money behind it. Josh may be part of it, the nice guy she meets.
It would be sad, but go ahead. I'm on board.
But where I'm at now, and this is my wild ass speculation, I think now everybody's like, maybe we're going to get a Red Hulk. And I'm like, no, we're not going to get a Red Hulk. We may get a Red She-Hulk. And in the comics, Red She-Hulk is Betty.
Right.
Now, I don't see them bringing Liv Tyler back.
See, now I think anything's possible, but
anything is possible.
Keep going.
So what I think is we're going to get a Red She-Hulk, and it's going to be Mallory Book.
I read your whole theory, and I like big chunks of it. And in general, I'm on board with what you're saying.
Well, I mean, Marvel does like to put up heroes against villains of equal power. Or the same power.
Yeah, that's a great point. I walked away from the episode saying, why spend so much time with the Nikki and Mallory story? And to get that little tiny kind of payoff when they're online and they see the Intelligentsia thing. And and it's weird that Mallory would go, oh, no, don't tell her. I didn't go into like a much bigger theory like you did, but I did say something's weird about this. Like, they spent a lot of time at that, and what the feeling I got is that Jen is being undermined at her law firm. I didn't necessarily go into a much huger conspiracy theory, but that in a way Nikki is going to be kind of stolen away from her, which would really hurt her, obviously. But that's interesting because you're seeing a much bigger criminal type of thing going on here. But it is weird that Mallory was kind of adamant about, you don't need to put that on her, like baloney. Nikki just found out that people want to kill Jen. Like, why wouldn't you tell her that?
But also, Mallory was already part of GLH&K.
Yes.
So she would be the natural person to run the superhuman division, except for the H part of it wanted a superhero lawyer. So her being able to get Red She-Hulk powers would allow her to become the face of the department.
Yeah. And, the thing when they tried to humanize Mallory, and that really did, seem humanizing is the only way I can put it. When she goes, "Oh yeah, I'm married and I have a kid and all of that," and it seemed real homey and everything. So maybe that's just lulling us into a false sense of security.
Mhm.
If I'm taking different things that you're saying, at the end, we may see all this stuff that's been in the show that we kind of think is unrelated. And then suddenly all the strings start to come together and all these people will pop up who have been in the episode and it'll all come together. And Jen will realize that like this web is being drawn around her since the very beginning.
Yeah, that's what I think is going to happen.
Mm-hmm.
And I think things have been manipulated since the beginning. I think the Intelligentsia has probably been following Bruce Banner
Yep.
and have cameras on him, and suddenly they see a She-Hulk. They see an opportunity there.
Yeah.
So when she wants to put on a dating profile, the computer guy, Todd, the computer guy, hacks it, gives her a really bad date as a human, better date as, so they could try to.
Could the Intelligentsia or whoever, if there's whoever is the big bad behind this, could they have been behind Bruce leaving Earth so he doesn't get in their way of them taking out She-Hulk?
Ooh.
And because in the real Planet Hulk, World War Hulk storyline, it was the Illuminati that got rid of Hulk. So
Right.
we don't really have that here that we know of, but that would be funny if we did. But so they substitute the Intelligentsia, and they're the ones that somehow manipulated Bruce, being off planet so that they have a better shot, thinking that Jen's not taking it seriously. They certainly don't want to deal with Bruce as Hulk along with Jen as She-Hulk,
Yeah.
Yeah.
I like that a lot. It'd be interesting. I mean, also, it would also be a good introduction for the leader to show just how smart he is, and that he could be playing this many levels of chess,
Yeah.
manipulating all these different people.
Yeah. Who do you see in the Intelligentsia in the MCU?
I think we'll probably get just the leader in this thing.
Okay.
And I think we'll see more in Captain America: New World Order.
Okay. Yeah.
I think there's a chance MODOK will be in it because we're going to get MODOK and Ant-Man.
Yeah.
And I think Corey Stoll is playing MODOK.
Well, we could get like a bunch of shadowy figures, all sitting around, and the leader maybe addressing them.
Yeah, kind of like the Council in the first Avengers movie.
Exactly. Yes,
Yeah.
I love it.
So
three more episodes.
Yep, 3 more episodes, and then we get to see what they're going to do. But and then I'm hearing a rumor, and I don't have this. It's not from great sources, but the rumor is that Tatiana Maslany will appear in the Captain America movie, since the leader is going to be over there. Now that could just be speculation. Again, the sources aren't great. It's like the direct and stuff like that.
Well, that's interesting because in the other podcasts that I do on Sundays with the earlier with the local radio guy I was saying, we were talking about She-Hulk, and I said, you know what? I'm really going to miss this show when it's over. I like being there, even if it is just a half hour. It's a fun half hour with a little bit of serious stuff in it. I'm really going to miss it. And I said, because we really have no idea where Jen is going to show up next.
Right.
And how long it will be before we'll get to see her again.
Yeah. Well, and my final reason I think it's going to be Mallory is the actress, Renee Elise Goldsberry.
Okay.
She's a little too high profile to bring in just to be a background character. I mean, she was on Broadway in Hamilton.
Mm-hmm.
She's the head Schuler sister.
Mm-hmm.
She's kind of a big deal. And for her to come in and just play the backup lawyer,
mm-hmm.
I mean, she's not doing anything much more than Pug is.
Sure. I mean, Nikki is got a much huger part in this show than she does.
Yeah. So to entice Renee to come in, I think they had to give her something bigger.
Huh.
And they are rivals in the comics.
Right.
So it does make sense. But
right.
All right, let's move on. Did you have anything else on She-Hulk?
No, just that I am thoroughly enjoying it. I'm glad for what it is. I laugh at everybody who can't stand that it's only a half hour, and just it's like it reminds me of WandaVision in the beginning, that people just totally misunderstanding, the show. But I enjoy it, and like I said, I'll miss it once it's over.
Agreed.
I think this is the kind of show that could get the second season.
Oh yeah,
no,
I think it could as well.
No.
But yeah, so it'll be interesting to see where they go. All right, let's move on to, what do you think, Andor or Rings? What do you think?
I don't know. There's a lot to unpack in both of those.
Let's do Andor.
Okay.
What was your initial impression of Andor?
That they took Rogue One's grittiness and dialed it up to 11. That was I really enjoyed it. I was surprised at how little Star Warsiness was in it, but was surprised that I didn't mind. I liked the so-called slow burn of it, and it's another one where I like pretty much all the actors. And there's some really fascinating stuff that's going on in it, and I really like how those 3 episodes. It seemed like there was an ending in a way. I mean, we're going to go to another plateau after the end of that 3rd episode. So that was really nice to get those 3 episodes, all at once.
Yeah, I agree with you on that, and I think it needed all 3 episodes, because I think the first 2 episodes are very slow. It's funny. I just I want to try to write a screenplay, and every once in a while I'll go and listen to a screenplay book, just kind of get in my head before I write. And I decided to listen to Save the Cat, which is a classic screenplay book. And the term Save the Cat basically is give your hero a moment to show that they're a good person, that you like them, that the audience will like them, so they want to go along. And the example he gives is in the movie Sea of Love with Al Pacino, where he's doing that sting and bringing all the people in, all the people the people they want to arrest. They got a bunch of people they want to arrest, and they basically offer free Yankees tickets or something like that, or meet the Yankees. And all these guys come in, they just arrest everybody. And as they're walking out, this guy shows up late with his kid and all the Yankee paraphernalia, and Al Pacino recognizes him as one of the guys they're supposed to arrest, and he just kind of flashes his badge and tells him, "Take your son home, go get him some pancakes or something," and then he still gets to say, "I'll catch you later." But he does that nice thing.
Yeah.
And at that point, you're like, okay, Al's a good guy. He's smart. He's got this whole idea for catching the bad guys, but he doesn't want to do it in front of the kid. That's really nice. So you want to follow Al through the rest of the movie.
I think I see where you're going with this.
Yeah, we don't get that with Andor. We didn't get that in Rogue One either. There really isn't a moment in Cassian Andor's life that we're supposed to go, I'm with you. And maybe it's a little Harrison Ford. Maybe it's a little, Han Solo-like. But throughout the first 2 episodes, he's basically leaning on his friends to try to get him out of trouble.
Yeah.
So you really don't have a reason to like the character, which I find fascinating because I like the show. I'm in.
Mm-hmm.
I'm watching this series.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know if I like Cassian.
Which isn't necessarily a bad thing.
Yeah.
I could probably think of things that main characters I think are jerks and don't like, and but I still like the production. But yeah, I mean, I think there's going to be more coming in this thing, but yeah, I get what you see. It's funny, I never even thought about that like I didn't think like, oh, I like or don't like this character. In a way, I felt sympathy for him because it just seemed like his life is just horrible, and he, he really needs to get off that planet. But I saw the ray of hope come in with Stellan Skarsgård, whose name I cannot remember in the show.
Luthien.
Yeah. And that he comes in and he sees something more valuable in Cassian Andor than he does in that Imperial box thing, and says basically, don't worry about that, because he thinks he's seeing something in Cassian.
Right.
I like the droid.
Yes.
I think that's probably my favorite character so far.
You mean B2 Emo?
Yeah. I like the way he talks. You know what I'm going to give this production credit for? We've seen a lot of droids in Star Wars, in all different, the movies, TV shows. We've seen lots of droids. I give them credit for coming up with yet another different kind of droid that has a voice all its own, literally and figuratively. It's like, it can't be easy to go, oh, we got to come up with a droid that's not like C-3PO, it's not like R2-D2, it's not like BB-8, what? And they did. I don't know how they did it, but they came up with a totally new, different kind of droid.
They're really good about that. I mean, with K2SO, the mover droid in Kenobi, I liked as well.
Yeah.
He did be something or other.
Yeah, they keep doing this. The droid that's in Solo. Yeah. It's, to me, that's amazing. That's really cool, and especially this one.
Yeah, I think a lot of it is the casting. In this case, it's a voice actor, where the other ones like Alan Tudyk is K2SO, and what's her name? Phoebe Waller-Bridger is the droid in Solo.
Oh, okay. Yep.
Yeah. So they get pretty good actors for those, and they don't just think of it as an extra thing. So, but
what do you think about the flashbacks in Andor?
I didn't care about them.
They were my least favorite part of the 3 episodes.
Well, okay. My thing about Rogue One is that it was an entertaining 2 hours or whatever the length of time it is, but I don't consider it a movie because it doesn't have your standard movie story arc. It's more a bridge, like a musical bridge, connecting us from the prequels to the original trilogy. So to me, I've got some issues with it, and I think they're kind of continuing that here because we know what's going to happen to this guy.
Yeah.
And like I said, there was no point in the movie in Rogue One did I go, oh, I like that character. I never connected to that character. You connect to Jyn Erso.
Yep.
But you really don't connect to Cassian.
Yeah.
And now he's doing his own series, and they haven't given us a reason to connect to him yet in 3 of the 12 episodes in the first quarter. So that surprised me. And even with doing the flashbacks, you really don't get the sense because they're not translating it.
Right.
So there is this detachedness to it. So you really don't understand what it is they've gone through. They've hinted that there was a mining accident. Maybe all the parents were killed, and we ended up with the Star Wars equivalent of Lord of the Flies.
Lord of the Flies, right? What
Yeah.
the ship that crashes and the guys that are in it, because that's taking place at the time of the Republic. It's before the Clone Wars, I assume. If my math is correct with how old he is and when they say this show is set, because it's it's 5 years before the Battle of Yavin,
Right.
and then
that's him as an adult.
Right. And then the flashback goes back another 15 years.
Probably.
Yeah. So that's 20 years right there. His childhood is around the time of the Clone Wars or Revenge of the Sith. So supposedly those people, I guess I saw on one of my Easter egg videos that the patch on their arm was
Separatists.
The Separatists, is that right? Yeah. Okay, that's very interesting.
Yep, the Count Dooku and the flying guys, and yeah. Okay. So yeah, they're definitely part of the Separatist movement, but we really don't see what happened to them. How does that go with the mining accident? Why was one of them still alive, but all the rest dead?
Yep.
And Fiona Shaw, Mavra, and
Marva,
Clay.
I think it is Marva.
Marva and Clay and B2EMO come in, but we don't know why they're there, why they're not being killed by whatever's killing these other things. It's just
you got to keep watching.
I know, but
you like the show.
I did. I enjoyed the show because it didn't feel like Star Wars to me, even though it was Star Wars.
Well, what did you like the best about it?
I liked his friends, how they stepped up for him. The one buddy was willing to lie for him, and then actually put a tow cable on the police, the company police ship. I liked the way the police were represented. Represented. That's the term I wanted. Was basically the head guy being an idiot.
But do you see him? I mean, where his story is going, I'm thinking he might become. I don't know. I'm thinking he might become part of the rebellion. Maybe I'm wrong about that.
Maybe.
Yeah. I was a little surprised that Mon Mothma wasn't introduced in the first 3 episodes, but that part I'm really looking forward to because I want to see. I always enjoy stuff on Coruscant.
Yeah,
and it's going to be interesting to get once we get the lowest of low levels with Cassian, that we're going to get these high echelon scenes, with her and the things that she's doing, as a counterpoint. And how their stories come together.
I think the first 3 episodes were supposed to be Cassian on Ferric.
Yeah.
What gets him off of there. And then from there, we're going to go and see what Luthien is really like and how he plays both sides. And that'll bring Mon Mothma in and stuff like that.
How many episodes is this?
12.
12. That's what I thought. Wow.
And it's already guaranteed 2 seasons. And no more because that's Rogue One.
Yep.
So
I heard. Yep.
Basically, we're counting down to this guy dying.
They will show us why it's worth it.
I did find it interesting, though, that all the bad stuff happened by accident in a way. Had the cops not hassled him on pre-Moreland 1 or on Moreland 1, then he wouldn't have hurt anybody. That wouldn't have been a problem. None of this would have happened. If the gung-ho lieutenant guy listened to his boss and, just made it go away, none of this would be happening. If Tim,
Drama. It's called drama.
if Tim didn't get jealous of Bix and Cassian, then he
Yeah.
wouldn't have ratted him out. And by the way, the fact that someone named Tim,
But how is it spelled?
Ti two M's.
There you go. See, it's science fiction-y. All you have to do is give it a weird spelling.
He's
It
still
should have
Tim.
been Tymm.
Yeah, something. Timo or something, Tima. But yeah, it's just Tim. It's like,
Time.
Tim? Really?
They need a Star Wars character named Jim. Not Jin, but Jim.
Yeah.
With 2 M's.
Yeah.
And
Or
a
just
Y, but not where you think it is.
Nice.
Thank you. I like to provide a thread between all of our topics.
That's very good of you. So yeah, I really liked it, and Stellan Skarsgård is always great.
Yeah, I was gonna say, isn't he? Yeah.
So as soon as he came in, I'm like, I'm there,
Yeah.
and I think I like him.
Oh, I do too. Yeah. Yeah.
So, maybe we're not supposed to like Cassian. Maybe he becomes someone we like, and we're supposed to like Stellan or Luthen.
Mm-hmm.
What a weird name, Luthen, Luthen.
Luthen.
Yeah. But
I also want to give them credit for the whole thing at the end. The fight at the end. The idea of big hunks of crap on chains falling around and everything actually, I think, provided a lot of tension. That was a kind of a unique environment.
yeah,
I thought, and I'll give whoever came up with that idea, I give them a lot of credit for that.
I like the fact that Ferrix had that timekeeper that was, that very meticulously hitting in certain rhythm and stuff. And then when it all is going to hell, they've got these metal things all over the city.
Yeah.
They start pounding on them.
Yeah.
And it kind of marries to that,
Yeah. It's the percussion planet.
Yes. Yes. So, but no, I like that. And I'm curious about Bix, if she's part of the Rebel Alliance already.
Well, right, because she knows Luthen. Like, right. And, so that's something that she's hiding from people. Right. Yeah, very, very interesting. Well, when you say the rebellion or whatever, I'm assuming there is no formal anything really.
Yeah.
Or there may be pockets. We still haven't even seen Saw Gerrera yet.
Right.
And I have a feeling that's what's going on. Luthen's got a part of it. Saw's got a part of it. Mon Mothma's got a part of it, and it's got to get all drawn together. Thus, the alliance.
Yeah.
And you know what? I never thought of that. That might be why this might be the explanation as to why it's called the Rebel Alliance.
Could be.
I mean, just rebels and things like that, but and the rebellion, but it was actually called the Rebel Alliance.
Yeah.
So it was groups that came together, planets too, I guess, that came together.
Though I do find it interesting that Luthen and Mon Mothma seem to be political players, while Saw Gerrera seems to be more of a terrorist.
Yeah, he's a guerrilla fighter. Yeah, definitely terrorist. Yeah.
So I'm curious how that's going to work, because by the time we see them in Rogue One, it's not working. They're really not connected at that point. Yeah. There's a lot of interesting moments, and then again, he's looking for his sister from Kenari, and it's like, how is that going to play into this? Yeah,
that I don't know if I even really care. They didn't really make me care much about that. I guess, well, you brought up so many things about that flashback that I guess we're going to get more of that part of the story's not over. Do you think we'll see Bail Organa before this is all over?
Possibly. He popped up in Kenobi. I could see him popping up here.
Mm-hmm.
You know.
I think so.
Yeah, and Jimmy, could use the paycheck. So.
Hey, Jimmy, while you're here on the set of Kenobi, can you step over here and film, a cameo in this party scene with Mon Mothma?
Yeah, exactly. Though I guess they filmed a lot of on Andor on practical sets and not the volume.
It looked like it. Yeah, it definitely did. The street scenes look mostly all built up. Yeah.
Yeah, they built the city on Ferric. They built that.
Yeah, yeah, definitely looks like it.
Yep. All right, that's 2 down, and we got about 20 minutes left to talk about Rings of Power.
It'll never be enough. Are you enjoying it still?
I am. I
Good.
just watched the 5th episode today.
Okay. 3 more to go.
What's funny is I did the Dan Wickline show after talking with you, and I was able to bring a lot of the stuff you told me into that show, and it started to sound like I was a Tolkien guy.
Which is weird because I'm certainly not a Tolkien scholar, but I do play one on the internet.
Yeah.
I do watch my Nerd of the Rings podcast stuff and breakdowns and things like that, and it's utterly fascinating to immerse oneself in that world. It really, really is. But you know what? You don't have to. My other podcast partner, he watched the Lord of the Rings movies, really liked them, and he's totally enjoying Rings of Power, and he doesn't feel like he needs to know. And I said, you shouldn't have to know anything. It should just be a story.
Exactly. I will say I think my favorite character is Durin. I love at the end of the 4th episode or 5th episode where he's like, so the fate of the elves are on me, in my hands, huh?
Who?
In whose hands?
Your hands. Yeah.
I love the relationship between him and Elrond.
It probably is my favorite part of it. But I gotta tell you, I no matter what anybody says, and I really have to stop reading what other people say, I really, really do like Galadriel, and I like the actress, and I could watch her, if she was just the entire episode, I could watch her. It's the Harfoot stuff that I don't dislike it. It's just it doesn't engage me like the other parts of it yet. The stranger, it looks like the whole thing about him being Gandalf is being reinforced more and more and more and more.
I'm buying that he's a wizard. I'm not buying he's Gandalf yet.
Here's an interesting thing that the nerd, or I can't remember what Easter egg video I watched that brought this up. That Gandalf is the one wizard who never put down roots. Like, he doesn't have a base of operations. Saruman was in Isengard, and Radagast was in the forest, and all of that. Gandalf is a wanderer, and they said, wouldn't it be interesting is that if this is Gandalf, that he got that whole thing in his head about always being on the move and going from place to place from his time with the Harfoots. And I said, wow, that's really interesting. That's not really that far-fetched, especially when they start the scene off with her teaching him the word migration.
Yeah,
all words to teach him. I thought that was really quite interesting.
Yeah, I thought the fight with the wolves was interesting.
Yeah, very, very much so.
Yeah,
and I'm still enjoying the Arondir stuff, and the fascinating part about half the people in the tower decide to go down that same old path. Like, hey, these guys want us to bow to them. Sure, we'll do that. No problem. And then he gets there, and it's like, yeah, we want you, but I want you to kill this guy for
Yeah.
me, please.
Yeah. He's like, you're Sauron, right? You're Sauron. How are you feeling about Halbrand at this time? Do you still think he's Sauron?
No, I do not. I really don't. I actually, the Halbrand story got a couple of notches up for me this time around. I'm glad he stopped doing his. That's not me. I'm not going back there. Leave me alone. I want to work on this forge thing, and then he gets on, the boat at the end.
Yeah.
I mean, technically, in the real Tolkien lore, Sauron is supposed to be confronted and defeated again and taken back to Numenor as a prisoner, and that's when he starts to infect the Numenorians with the worship of Melkor, and that leads to the whole fall of Numenor and all of that. So, I mean, yeah, if he is, because he'd have to be taken back to Middle Earth to be brought back to Numenor. I know. I don't know. I'm not sold that we've seen Sauron at all. I don't buy it really that that he is any character that we've seen. I think he's a big bad that is in the distance. His presence is over the entire thing. It's always there, but I don't think we've seen him. I don't think we are going to see him in this season. I mean, it could be third season before we see. If they're doing 5, it could be right in the middle, but no, I don't believe it. I think that Halbrand is going to come to no good end, and he very well could become one of the Nazgul. I still am very fond of that theory. He may even be the lead Nazgul guy because he's a king, but no, I don't believe he's Sauron. Adar is certainly not Sauron. I just don't see him other than way in the background, somewhere watching things. I think he's still biding his time.
What if Arundir is Sauron?
No. What if Disa is Sauron? I love the bit with the table.
Yes.
Durin totally had me, man. I thought, wow, he's really giving it to Gil-galad. And this table you're using the sacred stone, and it's only meant for monuments and blah blah blah.
Tombs.
Oh, well, we'll take it. Take the table. Go ahead. Disa just wanted a new table. Yeah, he's pretty damn funny. I like that part a lot.
And I love Elrond at the end going, "Tell Disa the table's from me."
Yeah. I really do like Elrond in this. I really felt that the pressure, suddenly his own people, his leader and I can't think. Celebrimbor, the Forge guy, that he's his hero, and then he starts putting the thumb screws on him. And you know what? That whole thing about Mithril is going to save the elves and everything, BS. I think it's a completely phony thing, just because they want the Mithril, but I don't think they want it for that. That just really smacked of BS. And if that's real, that's way off of Tolkien. I hope it's just a fake thing. It's going to be devastating for between Durin and Elrond. That's really going to test that friendship. But it just sounded too hokey to be true.
Well, the thing is that Elrond isn't lying, and I think that'll matter.
Mm-hmm.
he's being lied to.
Yes, yeah, absolutely. I mean, Durin could say, "And you believed that? Like, how could you know?" But I'm hoping that what you're saying is absolutely true. Yes.
What if Sauron is Gil-galad?
No, he's not Gil-galad. Sauron kills Gil-galad in the final battle. Spoiler alert! In the big, huge battle at the very end, he kills Gil-galad and Elendil. Both die, and it's Isildur who is the one that cuts the Sauron's finger off and gets the ring. That's so funny, and this is another part of the show that I really love. That kid who effed up on purpose and all the things, and then he wants to go and all that. That kid becomes the guy that cuts the Sauron's finger off and gets the ring, and then will not get rid of the ring, and then himself dies, face down in a river from some orcs or whatever.
Yeah.
That's fascinating to me that we're going to watch the progression of that kid into that man.
Yep. I think that's interesting. I do actually like the Harfoot stuff.
Okay. Remember I said I didn't dislike it. To me, it's just it doesn't captivate me as much as the other stories do. I'm hoping it ramps up, for what I like in things, but right now when it turns to that, I go, okay,
For me, it's kind of a breath of fresh air.
Okay.
Because
it's very different from the rest of the story.
Everything is so dark and intense.
Mm-hmm.
They're at Numenor and they're trying to raise an army, and then over here they're at the tower and they're trying to protect themselves from the orcs, and over here you got Durin and Elrond, which are great. But so you got all this stuff going on, and then let's take a moment over with the Harfoots. We're going to relax a bit. Yeah, go ahead. Did you grab a sandwich? It's a good time. We'll see what's up with the stranger.
Then you must have been very crestfallen when they came into that forest and it was all dark and gloomy.
Like I was a little bit. I'm like, oh, come on.
At least they're outdoors. At least they're in the great outdoors. There's fresh air, sort of.
I actually enjoyed the frickin' song.
Oh, I'm embarrassed to say I did too. Yeah. Yes. Yeah. That was, and that it borrows lines from things from Lord of the Rings. And this is a really cool speculation, because when we first came across those lines of all that glitters is not gold, or all who wander are not lost, it came from Bilbo. And the speculation is that just like so many songwriters through the ages and playwrights like Shakespeare all borrowed from an ancient work, that we can see maybe Bilbo borrowed from this Harfoot song, and that's what he forged his own work, from, which is really cool. When I heard those lines, it was like, oh, I got the Tolkien, shivers all over.
What's funny is that those are what I skipped when reading the book.
Yeah, I remember you saying that. But that's, I know, but that's so Tolkien, to have poems and songs and things like that in there. And yeah, you know what? I don't like reading song lyrics. So what? But when you hear it and it's done well, like I loved in the first Hobbit movie, the first Hobbit movie, that they did the whole song with the dwarves and breaking all of Bilbo's dishes and everything like that. It was like, oh my goodness, this is the song from the novel, but it's really cool the way they did it, and it was just a whole world of difference, from dry words on a page to having it like that. I want to know if that, I don't think it was, but I wondered if that was the actress who plays
Poppy.
Poppy, that if that was really her singing it. The tone was sort of the same, so they did a good job if it's not to make you think that it's her. But I'd really like to know if that was that actress, because I'll give her credit for that. That was very nice.
Yeah. There isn't a moment where you go, "Oh, they switched." You know?
Yeah, right. And then at the end, over the credits, there's a song. It might make it if it's the same song, they got a different singer, like a more professional singer. But there's a singing at the end too over the credits.
Yeah. Well, you don't want it to sound too professional in the episode.
No, not at all. And I could see where they want to do that for for the end credits. But no, that was the nice thing, and that's what almost made me believe it was that actress, is that it wasn't necessarily at a professional level. It sounded like a young girl trying to, sing.
Yeah. So, what do you think is up with the stranger and the ice on his arm?
It's a healing thing. In fact, the word that he says when he's doing that is the word for heal. I think it's Quenya, which is Elvish or whatever. I saw it translated as healing or heal. I don't know if we're supposed to think of anything of why it was ice necessarily. It was a little, scary when Nori got caught in it. She shouldn't have been touching his damn arm. She's too curious for her own damn good. But that's hobbits, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
See, maybe it's just my wish, but I don't want the stranger to be Gandalf.
That's what I said in the beginning, and I've softened a little bit on it. It's too, winky, nudge, nudge. If it is, the funny thing is at this point, if it's not Gandalf and it's not Saruman and it's not Radagast and it's a wizard that we have never met before and know the name of, I shouldn't care, but you're going to get a lot of people who the entitled people who are going to say, the show promised us that was Gandalf and they pulled the rug out from under us. Well, no, they're not promising. They're throwing you possible red herrings.
Yeah.
Because they know that some of the people will like the thought that it's Gandalf and that they'll like the familiarity of the character. But I mean, no, I could go either way at this point, and I'm a little surprised that I softened on that.
Well, we do have the 2 blue wizards that come with them,
Mm-hmm.
of the 5.
Mm-hmm.
But again, from my reading, Sauron came before Gandalf.
Okay, yeah. Well, if this is the first one.
Yeah, unless Gandalf is here and then went back, which doesn't make a lot of sense.
That's kind of what I was thinking, that if this is Gandalf, that he may go back. They're doing a really good job the actor's doing a good job with the writing of a guy who has never before been in physical form, and he's still like, what is this thing that I'm wearing now? And that is really, really convincing. And the idea of, I have this ability to make these sounds, which other people can understand what I'm saying, but he's learning the words. That's all really interesting, because the Ishtari, I think, or what Istari were formless beings that were sent to the physical earth,
right?
And that they were put into these crude forms that we have. Luminous beings are we? Sorry.
No problem. All right, we are going to wrap it up there. We got through our 3 shows, so next week will be a little easier because we'll have 1 Andor, 1 Rings of Power, and 1 She-Hulk to talk about, unless something else pops up too. But
hey, may I just stick in a quick note about Ultraman?
Yeah.
May I please give you a word of my Lord Ultraman?
Sure.
Something really cool happened. If anybody out there is interested in Shin Ultraman, the recent Ultraman movie that was made like Shin Godzilla, in Japan. Word came out that they have found a distributor to get it into American
Oh,
theaters or the West, whatever.
yeah.
But more importantly, here in the United States, it looks like we will get it, and that they did get a partner with a distributor who is going to work to get it into theaters. I'm just over the moon because I cannot wait to see that movie.
Very cool. Glad to hear that. All right, we're going to wrap that up there. Henry, sorry you missed most of it, but yeah, this will be available right away, so you can just start it over. But yeah, we're 6 to 7 Pacific time, 6, 7, 8, 9.
9 to 10.
9 to 10 on the East Coast. So
That's me.
everybody have a great week. I will be on the Dan Wickline show all week, and we will be back next weekend with more of Pop Go the Writers. Good night, everybody. Take care.